Anyway, the cup of tea got made.
He's made. Ta-da.
Yeah.
On Tuesday gone, this last
Yeah.
Tuesday, we do these podcasts on a Thursday, so the day before
Yeah.
yesterday. Liz Truss, our friend Liz Truss, she was doing a gig on a book tour.
Yeah.
Uh, she was touting a book, 10 Years to Save the West.
Mm.
Sounds like a Western country. It sounds
Yeah.
like a bangy bangy, but
Yeah. Yes.
the gig was at the Beccles Public Hall and Theatre in Smallgate,
Okay.
in Beccles in Suffolk, the county of Suffolk in the UK.
Mm.
For those who aren't British and are not really clued in uh, on British politics, and even for those who are clued in on British politics, and you blinked, you might not have seen Liz Truss. She was the shortest serving prime minister in the
Mm.
UK of only 49 days
Yeah.
after she almost crashed the economy because of her policies. Um, when she began a stint as a prime minister, uh, British newspaper The Daily Star placed on its front page an image of a head of lettuce with eyes stuck to it, uh, and they were asking, "Can this Truss outlast this lettuce?" Which, of course, she didn't. You know, as a PM.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to the gig. Uh, Towards the end of the event, a banner behind her was lowered with the image of the head of lettuce and the two eyes, and it said, "I crashed the economy." So I, I don't know if you remember we were on about humor and what makes people laugh. Well,
Yeah.
this is like,
Yeah.
this is exactly the dramatic irony that I was talking about in that podcast. Because it happened behind her and she didn't see it, but the audience
Mm.
did. Of course, they started laughing. And this is while she was mid-flow of a sentence, and she must have
Yeah.
thought, I've got the crowd on my side,
Mm.
and so she got all animated,
Yeah. Yeah.
continuing. She was on about supporting Donald Trump in the US elections.
Okay.
Anyway, this she continued a conversation until an aide of hers pointed out the banner that had been lowered, and so it made her leave the stage. It made her get up and just leave the stage in revolt and humiliation,
Yeah.
proclaiming it's not funny. And that was the end of the gig. Basically, that was the end of the gig. Now, the banner was a property of the left-wing activist group called Led by Donkeys.
Mm.
Led by Donkeys, the name Led by Donkeys was taken from a phrase, lions led by donkeys,
Yeah.
referring to, as you probably know, uh, what was said about British soldiers in the First World War,
Mm.
and about the commanders who were classed as being ignorant and
Yeah.
not very effective and actually nonchalant about the whole war effort. You know, the co-founder of the group, founded in 2018, this led by donkeys. His name's Ben Stewart, 50 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd think he'd be doing something better than this at his age, but I digress.
Yeah. Okay.
He was arrested uh, on suspicion of burglary to hoist a banner in position.
Mm.
Uh, However, he was released without charge later. Led by Donkey spokesperson said Liz Truss was on a pro-Trump speaking tour, so we dropped a strategically positioned banner. Now, it's not the first time that Led by Donkeys has done this. Uh, earlier this year they dropped a banner behind Nigel Farage at a speaking event with a picture of
Mm.
Vladimir Putin declaring, "I love Nigel." So let's ask ourselves on these two events, was there a serious lack of security? Because these banners were put on stage, hoisted up and hidden on stage, and by remote control they were lowered down, you know.
Yeah,
So
what it
was it a
is.
lack of security? Was it an inside job? Was what on both sides? Was it an inside job for these people? So that's what you've got to figure out. Oh, where you go.
Um, I watched the Liz Truss video, so I just happened to capture it. Um, was it funny or was it bad manners? I'd say it's bad manners. You know, I like a joke as much as the rest. If you'd have gone there knowing that it was a bit of a satirical thing and maybe going on like this, yeah, okay, fair enough. Um, I thought that was very, very unfair. Whatever you may think of her policies and everything, and okay, I think she was well intentioned in trying to introduce what she did, but possibly wrong timing or other people, other factors got involved. Yeah, that's a debate for another day. And I'm not an economist or anyone clever, and I could see what she was trying to achieve. So yeah, crash the economy. Well, I think other people crash the economy on that deliberately, possibly. These people are not backward at playing with our lives. Um, Again, I don't know. Maybe somebody can comment down below who might be more knowledgeable about this than me. I know what I see with my own eyes, but we're not meant to use them anymore. Yeah. Um, I thought it was very bad. Anyone that's able to go in there and rig up something like that, and I have installation experience, don't forget, not directly of that, that, you know, you can't just go and do that quietly. Somehow somebody got in and got access to the rigging and everything else and the power cable running to over cable. Excuse me. Yeah. Um,
It can't be done by one person for sure.
oh, no,
It
no.
needs to be hoisted up there in the first place.
Well, I'd say two people at least, probably three or four ultimately.
Three, four.
Yeah. Um, you've got more experience with these theatre things than I have. But yeah, it is I think it's a very, very, it would need some finance as well. Yeah. Okay. This is not it's not an expensive piece of equipment. You could probably buy it. Well, you used to be able to buy it from certain, yeah, electrical wholesalers I went to. Yeah. But that aside, yeah, I don't believe it was somebody randomly doing something. There was a setup. Very bad mess. Very disrespectful. Could you imagine if that had been Rayner or even our Prime Minister had done something like that? Or we, someone, yeah.
Well, you know, this led by donkeys organization, if
Mm,
they were non-political
mm,
or non-party, let's put it
yeah,
like
yeah,
that, they're going to have to be political because
yeah, yeah,
that's what I'm on about. But if
yeah.
they were non-party, I think they'd become very, very successful
Mm,
because, you know, every politician would be put on the same
yeah,
level, you know.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
Instead of just going to the for the right, they should go for everybody, and I think that everybody would support them.
yeah.
It's
I mean,
basically it's what we do. We call
yeah,
everybody out,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
call everybody
yeah. I
out.
mean, even people we might have a not affiliation with, but yeah, affinity. Yeah, I would. You know, we you shout everybody out. We're critical thinkers. Yeah. What the government wants to bring into the schools now, critical thinking. Wow, I was doing that in the 1980s at school. But yeah, I'm not that road. But yeah, I agree with you. If they're a satirical stroke thing, so like the physical version of Private Eye or
Yeah, yep.
something like that, okay, I'm 100% behind them, provided nobody gets hurt. I mean, I don't really care about Liz Truss's feelings. She's a hardened politician. Um, I'm not against people knocking public figures. I mean, if it had been a woman down the road who expressed something and all that, maybe, um, but yeah, I thought it was very, very, I wouldn't say poor taste. Um, we have freedom of expression, and there's a difference between freedom of speech and freedom of expression. In the US, I believe freedom of speech is protected by law. We have freedom of expression. So it may not have been illegal what they did, um, unless they did actually break into the place and do it again. Excuse me. Yeah. But
I,
yeah.
I, I think they had help. I think they had inside help,
Okay.
and that I think the most important thing to take from this, apart from the stunt itself,
Mm.
is how did they set it up? It was either very, very bad security,
Yeah.
or they had some inside help, and either way, it's not very good form for a politician to go to a theatre and make some sort of, even if it's a speech or
Yeah.
anything. If people are allowed to go rife
Yeah.
into the
I mean,
24 hours before,
mm.
the night
uh,
before.
well, yeah. I mean, that's our freedom of speech. Well, everyone has an entitlement to freedom of speech, unhindered, essentially, and um, she is entitled to give her speech. Somebody can question her afterwards or raise it up, or should have waited till the speech was done and maybe lower it down then. Um, it's not funny. I mean, yeah, I mean, she's a seasoned thing. She's trying to sell a book, flog a book as well. I mean, okay. Well, everyone's talking about it, so it might actually help herself for all I know, Now, I didn't know that she was trying to sell a book before you mentioned it. So, again, knock on. And I mean, if people want to read her book, which might be insightful, yeah. I used to read quite a lot of political things when I was in the UK, books at the library and all that. So I knew bits and pieces. Um, yeah, I mean, even politicians I didn't like, I would read about. Yeah, because it's what you're doing. You could either say have better understanding or know the enemy, if way you look at it. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. I found policies at the time maybe not clever, but she was trying to give the British people something to live for. We're just going through a bad time. Possibly unworkable, but what is? We're now living in a time globally which is unworkable for a majority of the people, in my opinion. But again, so to wrap up, not funny, guys, not funny, immature, very disrespectful. Or do a Steve Smith, change your remote for arm don't attack, be even handed, not just the. I don't want to talk about left or right because I believe left or right actually exists anymore. Um, Maybe we've now got to look at ideas because now we're seeing what's happening. Like you said, Nigel Farage, you mentioned it happened to him. He's used to getting attacks, a lot more physical than that normally, or sometimes. Yeah, but yeah, it's yeah, you can't have people going around doing that. If they had inside help, I know people turning a blind eye to this. Oh, it's for our cause. There's a lot of people who are self-righteous who think any way they do it is justified because they are righteous. They're right. They're totally 100% in the right. They don't understand discourse or the opposite opinion or a different opinion. Even not always an opposite. Even within their own group, they will not always accept there is a different idea or an opinion to achieve what they want to achieve. So, yeah, close
Well,
out.
my little view, just to tack this on the end, just to draw this to a
Mm,
conclusion.
mm,
I was more preoccupied about the security of the thing.
mm. Yeah,
Uh, Nobody was hurt.
yeah,
Nobody interrupted anything.
no,
It was done in silence. It was a
Yeah.
protest violence. So
Mm.
that's all fair game. However, uh, if it was a group of people shouting in the audience
Yeah.
and disrupt, that's one thing. But it's
Yeah.
just a lowering of something. Uh, I mean, if
Well,
the lady done a better job, then they wouldn't have the banner in the first place. You know,
okay, fair enough.
and
But yeah, the other,
and they did say that. Sorry, and they did say that they were after hypocrites. So I don't know what she was saying beforehand, or if she was trying to, you know,
mm,
say something that she didn't say at that time. You know.